So, you've realized that you're not getting any better at aiming, despite the fact that you're playing 12 plus hours a day? Look no further. I have 4 out of the many possible reasons why you might be struggling. Maybe we'll talk more about aim in a future video. I just wanted something out there, since a lot of people ask me how I became so good on aiming. And no, we will not be talking about you forgetting to turn off Windows mouse acceleration here. I truly hope that you already know about this. Let's get right into it. Number 1. Focusing on your aim while in-game. Focusing on your aim too much while playing a game such as Call of Duty, Fortnite, or Overwatch is not a good idea. It should come to you naturally when you're in the actual game, or you will spend too much time trying to aim properly instead of playing tactically, which may in fact ruin both your aim and your tactical playing. Your hand should be following your eye's movement and where they're looking. You shouldn't focus your eyes on the crosshair until you have already moved the crosshair close to the target. After that, you should do the micro adjustments with focus on the crosshair. At least this is what I am doing, and it has clearly worked out pretty good for me. I can see a lot of people say that you shouldn't focus at all on the crosshair, but I really do think this is the right way to do it, at least for me. Number 2. Your movement can prevent good aim. Many times I see people complain that they can't hit the enemies, and the reason for their bad aim isn't always their actual aim, but the fact that they move very weird. To put it simple, what they do is confuse themselves and their hand can't keep up by doing too unpredictable patterns, which they can't even keep up with themselves. This is a mistake that builds up over time, and if you don't start off by focusing on your minor movements changes first, it will be very hard for you to become better on both the movement and the aim together. On top of this, some people tend to go too high sense or too low sense for their own sake. Not compared to other people, but compared to their own personal liking. Most people don't fall under the category of aiming good with super high or super low sense, but that doesn't mean you should be afraid to try out different sensitivities. You might find one that suits you better in the long run. That being said, don't just switch sensitivity as soon as you've got a bad aim day. We all have them. Maybe you've got a lot to think about that day. Maybe you've played too much and your muscles are tense. If it's not a long period of time with bad aim, then don't assume sensitivity is the issue. Most of the time, your mindset and poor training is the problem. Number 3. Practicing the wrong way. The real problem is that when you are in fact aim training, you don't focus enough on your aim while trying to improve. And by this I mean that maybe you're playing Kovacs or AimLab, or maybe in the actual game you want to get better at. You're just sitting there, shooting at targets hour after hour, without actually focusing and reflecting on what it is you're doing wrong. Record when you're playing, look back at the footage and see if there is anything you can change. If you want to be real thorough, you should also record your arm with a camera and see how you move your arm. When you miss a target, what is it that you physically do which makes you miss? Such as maybe your shirt hit the end of the table, maybe you lift your mouse at a weird angle. This also leads me on to the fact that aim trainers only help so much when it comes to aim. As long as the aim trainer doesn't have a specific function to change the movement to mimic the game you practice for, you won't be as good practice as playing the game you're trying to get better at aiming in. Otherwise, it will feel different once you're in the actual game. Number 4, which is my final tip for this video. You're not focusing on the tiny mistakes. A very common issue is that they make minor mistakes while aiming and keep building on top of them. An example could be friction with your mousepad. This friction may change depending on if you're sweating, which means that you will aim very differently depending on the heat of your room. To eliminate this, I use a sports sleeve. This gives me the same friction every time I play, and on top of it, it helped me get rid of my wrist pain and elbow pain. I'm no doctor, but I'm just stating that it did help me out. Some players tend to lean forward when focused. What this does is several things. 1. It changes your posture, which in turn changes the way you position your arm, and this affects your aim. 2. The problem is that the focus you're feeling in those situations when you lean in is the focus you should be having all the time. This is what you're supposed to be striving for. Yes, being that focused for a long time will make you tired, but this is where taking breaks comes in. You need to take breaks to become better. If you do this, you can come back again and be just as focused as before, without any issues. I know myself it's easy to just sit down and game for 12 hours straight with no breaks, but if you truly want to become better, this is the way. So, To summarize the video, don't focus on the aim while you're actually playing. Focus on the aim when you're practicing to become better. I hope this video gave you at least something, and if it didn't, well, sorry for wasting your time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. Stay positive, stay true to yourself, and never let anyone tell you you can't succeed. Peace.